Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited. This is our first live of the new year. And the last one I think I did was maybe at the beginning of December. And I absolutely love lives because we can come together and chat. So if you're here, please tell me where you're from, what you're drinking. I'm on Vancouver Island and I'm drinking water because it's past when I'm allowed to have tea, which is really sad. So I want to chat before we jump into too much, just a little bit. And please, like, if you have questions, put them in the chat. If you're watching this later, put them in the description or in your comment section. But first, I want to talk a little bit about January. So I saw a meme and it was like, the most surprising thing is that there's still a week left of January, which truly is. I myself was just sort of thinking, like, I was like, okay, there's 5 days left. And for me this year, the year has actually, well, I guess the year, January, has gone by so fast already, which is really nice in a way because quite often I find January absolutely a horrible month. January and February, very depressing. I am literally putting Vaseline on my fingertips right now because they are so dry. Because it's been very cold here where I am, cold and sunny on Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada. We have not had a ton of snow, but it's been dry because it's been -1 Celsius, which is not too bad. Most Canadians are like, are you kidding me? But January is a type of year where I feel like we naturally feel like we need to make some kind of a change, which is not a terrible thing. I feel like if you're like feeling an expectation for yourself, like you have to, and you put that pressure on yourself, that's not good. But feeling like you need to make an improvement in your life is a wonderful thing. And I feel like it just helps so many of us. And I talk a lot about being a former nurse, former emergency nurse, and as humans, we are meant to grow. We are meant to make changes. We are meant to better ourselves. And September, we often feel like it's just that natural back to school vibe. And then when it comes to January, we're just like, I got to do something. And often people, they're like, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to declutter my house. And a lot of people are very motivated until just after the second Friday in January, which this year would have been the 9th. And that is a company called Strava, which helps people track their workouts. They have called it Quitter's Day because they did research that showed that most people who have a New Year's resolution or some kind of goal often quit by that second Friday. And I am fascinated by that because I myself have had many a goal and I have quit many a goal. And in my house, 4 out of 5 of us, actually my eldest has moved out, but he's one of them. We have ADHD. And so for us to get that initial boost of dopamine of like, I'm doing something new and I'm really excited, that happens. And then we very quickly lose track of what we want to do. So I wanted to come on here because if you're like, hey, I had that goal, I wanted to get fit or I wanted to declutter my house, but suddenly I lost interest in that, you're not alone because that was Quitter's Day. And I'm going to help you to move past that. But before we do that, I am just going to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hello, Kathy and Jen and Lulu and Connie. And Kathy, who I feel like what was that show? Pokeroo or something where they did that? Kathy, Patricia, another Kathy, Robbie at the castor oil, good tip. And then don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. Oh my gosh. And hype. Yes, I really appreciate that. Really trying to bring like so much value to everybody right now on my channel. So please check out some of my most recent videos. Okay. So mid-January, Quitter's Day, people give up on their goals. And I don't think quitting is the problem. I think it's the way that we try that is the biggest problem. So many of us, Judy, my fellow Canadian in Ontario, so many of us, we are all or nothing. And I know I can be like that. I know my husband is definitely like that. Are you the type of person who is just like, yes, I'm going to do this. And then like the tiniest little thing comes and you're like, no, or it's like you're trying to, do a new diet and then, you have like a cookie and you're like, well, that's it for the day. And then you just like completely go off of the rails. You fall off the wagon and that's that, all or nothing. Or maybe you have huge goals, but you don't have any structure. Now, for me, That is sort of what I've done in the past. And a lot of us, we fall into something, um, a form of perfectionism. And if you are the type of person who's like, I'm going to do the thing when I have all of the information, once I have all of the information, I can decide, when it comes to decluttering, I'm going to decide where I need to donate things. Where can I donate things? What's the proper thing? Should I have the right bags? I saw that so and so had these bags or this box. Maybe I need to do that before I can start. And we get very perfectionistic. And then we're like, every single decision that we're making, we're like, hey, maybe I should hang on to that. Maybe this candle here, I don't really like the smell, but maybe one day I will like the smell. And we think like, oh, I need to hang on to that because I don't want to make the wrong decision. I want to be perfect in my decision making. So the perfectionism. And again, the huge goals with no structure, as I mentioned before, is a lot of us, we just go in. Sorry, I glazed past that one. We go in and we're just sort of like guns a blazing. And it's almost like the maybe the opposite of the perfectionism where you're like, yeah, like I'm just going to tackle and often here's the thing, you guys, they go for like the garage or the storage room, or like so often it's like the guest room that's messy. And it's like, but is that the right place for you to start? And again, I don't want to get perfectionistic about the right place to start all the time, but I feel like so often when we don't have a plan, we naturally default to sort of where we left off. And quite often it's like doing those decluttering weekends where you maybe had a little bit of success, but then it's suddenly not staying that way. Another one is the motivation based plans, because as I've given you the example of Quitter's Day. So many of us were motivated for, 10-ish days, and then we completely lose interest. And another one is trying to change everything at once. So we're just going absolutely, balls to the wall, and then we burn out and we're like, I'm exhausted. And I think that is probably why Quitter's Day often happens on the second Friday in January, because we are tired by that point. It's the new year for most of us. I did just go to Arizona. Actually, funny enough, I was in Arizona right when just getting back when Quitter's Day happened. And I was like, wow, this is so energizing to like see the sun and be in like 20 degrees Celsius temperature. This is actually much more energizing than the grayness that I am looking at right now and the cold and the rain that we usually have, which is why a lot of the time we can feel we lose motivation quicker when it's the seasons are bleak. But so relying on all of that can really hold you back. So I think like the biggest thing that can help so many people is looking at motivation versus systems. So one of the things that I talk about on the channel all the time is my Mighty method, which I'll explain a little bit in a minute if you don't know it. But when you only rely on motivation, it's like relying on willpower, which is just not going to help. It's like willpower versus your environment. You're like, yes, I'm going to do it. Say you were like trying to like not eat sugar, but then there was somebody who just kept bringing Oreos over and like Kit Kats and lots of yummy treats. And you were like, and cake. Oh my gosh, I love cake. I haven't had cake for so long. But then all of a sudden, you're like, how am I going to keep this going with my willpower? And it's the exact same. If you're relying on motivation, your willpower is not going to keep you going because motivation will not last forever. Hi, Kelsey. And the other thing is like the effort versus friction. There's another thing called resistance. And, again, like when we have the new thing, we're so excited. When I first started this one workout routine that I started like 8 years ago or something, I was so excited at first. And after a couple of weeks, it started becoming less novel. And I started hitting something that is called resistance. And it was like, then suddenly I was like, you know what? I only have like 30 minutes before I have to get the kids. Maybe I'll just wait. And then, I'm not feeling like 100% today. So maybe I just like won't do that workout. And the same thing happens when we're trying to tackle our houses or when we're trying to do anything. It's like something in your brain is saying, first of all, it's like, I don't really understand why you're making these changes, because your brain is starting to be like, I don't exactly feel safe. And I don't really know why it is that you are making these changes. So I'm going to try to push you down, make you sit down, make you lazy, make you look at your phone. Not saying you are lazy, but trying to make you not do the thing. And then we end up failing. And, I think that one of the most important things is you can ask yourself, like, is my home, since we're talking decluttering, is your home interfering? Do you every year come here and say, oh, I'm going to declutter my home? Or, at the end of summer, you're like, oh, I got to clean up. Or so often, like I run in, just yesterday, I was at church and somebody was like, oh, so like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, like I do this and that. And I help, I have a decluttering minimalism YouTube channel, and everybody's like, oh, I need you. And it's because it's such a common thing. Like, you are not alone. And if you are often like restarting over and over and over again, why is that? And what in your home is making it hard for you to accomplish that? But also, how great would it be if you did it? And so I want to just touch on the Mighty Method again, and I will quickly say hi to everybody. Kelsey says she doesn't have any won't power. And Emily's here from Western Australia. Very cool. And hello, Ruth from Minnesota. Okay, so the Mighty Method, which I have talked about, and as a former ER nurse, it's all about assessing. It's always about like as soon as somebody walks in the door, you're like, ABCs, airway, breathing, cardiac, like, do they have a pulse? They're breathing, like what's their color like? And it's the same when we are looking at our house and when we're deciding what to declutter. So first of all, I like to have a strategy. So in my method, in my membership, we start in it. Basically, like, the big start is usually February. People can join at any time, but we start with the kitchen because I want you to start in a room that is going to make a huge impact for you. And a lot of people don't realize it, but their kitchen is actually stopping them from so many things. It's stopping them from eating healthier. It's making them spend more money on takeout, which is huge. And it just can frustrate them. It can cause arguments. It's just a real burden. So say you're triaging your kitchen. You go in your kitchen and you say, what is not working here? And then you recognize what isn't working. Maybe it's like part of it's the layout, or there's too much stuff. Where is there too much stuff? And then we ask ourselves, how do I want it to feel? What do I want it to look like in this kitchen? And then, so you've triaged it. You've understood, like, where are the problems? Where does my attention need to go first? Just like when we're in the emergency department. Then we're going to simplify. So we're reducing the load. We're asking the questions, and I have a list of questions I give people to ask in every single room. Each month we go through it. And then you're removing those things. You're making space, which feels so good. One of the very first people I ever coached when it came to decluttering, it was so cute because she was just like, yeah, like, I have stuff all over my counters. And I was like, if you take stuff out of your cupboards, you'll have spots to put that stuff that's on your counters. And she was like, oh yeah. And then once I was like, she was one of those people, and not everybody's like this, but she needed permission to understand, oh, you can actually get rid of stuff. So she was really happy about that. So she simplified. Then you organize. So we make sure everything has a home. Where's the it's like Dana K. White says, like, where's the logical spot where you would look for something? That's where it should go. And where is it the most convenient? And the kitchen is the most perfect room to talk about this because it's probably the most utilitarian room in the house. But you can do this in your bedroom even, like, where is a good spot for my hand cream? Well, it would be next to the bed, so I can put it on my hands at night so my hands can stay moisturized. So we're organizing things, giving everything a home, making it so the family members can put stuff back. And then Thrive, which is the one thing that I have never seen anybody else talk about in my particular method for my method. It's the Thrive. We are building systems that do not rely on motivation. We're building systems and routines so things can stay clean. And that is exactly what we do. So the goal is you're not becoming a different person. You're building a life to fit the person that you already are, and you're making your home fit you. Because I really feel like food, water, and shelter, Shelter is your home, and your home is important. Now, I get into much more detail on this tomorrow. I'm doing a workshop. In the past, I have done a challenge. So if you've ever been at my challenge, I have put it into all of this into a workshop where I'm going much more in depth into the method and a little bit more into, what we should definitely not be doing and what we should be doing. So you can go ahead and join my workshop. I will just put it in the chat there. And it is at tomorrow, January 27th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, because I wanted it to be easier for more people to come. Although I know everybody in Europe is like, what are you talking about? But there will be replays. So sign up. I will send you the replay. And this is just so I can help you see exactly how to move past Quitter's Day if you are struggling with moving past that, with making that progress, with getting your home the way you want it to be so that it is calm and it is supporting you. And honestly, I feel like this is one of those times of year where, because for so many of us, except for our lovely friends in Australia, it's winter. And a ton of people in the South and the East, and most of the rest of Canada are really kind of socked in right now. And when you're stuck at home, you are like, your problems with the house are like right in your face. And you might start to feel like, I will often feel sort of like overwhelmed. If the house is a mess, and if you're like, this is so hard to put stuff back, that's because you probably have too much stuff. And you might have too much stuff because you're afraid that when you're decluttering, you're going to make a mistake, or you're hanging on to stuff just in case. Meanwhile, I love for people to ask themselves, all of the stuff you have should be supporting you. And if you have sentimental things, like, I totally get it. And please, if you have any questions, like about any decluttering, anything, go ahead and put it in the chat there. But right now, I feel like, let's see, I distracted myself by saying that. Ruth says, but it is getting more daylight even now, so that is feeling a bit better. I know. And you know what? I doing so good this year that I think that, I mean, like, honestly, I think going to Arizona helped so much. But I only a couple of days ago was looking at because you can look up how, like, when your days begin and end, sunrise, sunset, all of the things. And I didn't even do that until like last Thursday. And I'm like counting down. It's, I think, 6 weeks until the time change. So I'm so happy about that. But anyway, that's besides the point. That this is your opportunity to take control of your life. And that's right. I was talking about all of the stuff that you have should support you. So if you have sentimental things, there's nothing wrong with keeping some things that are sentimental. I've had people who say, like, do I need to get rid of all my pictures? And I'm like, no, like, you can keep some sentimental things, like that little ball right back there. That's sentimental to me. I have certain pictures that are sentimental. Here's one of my husband and my kids when my kids were little. And that is sentimental. I don't think that there's any way you should be getting rid of all of your sentimental things, but making sure that what you have is truly sentimental. And if you're just not always keeping it in boxes, because you're not honoring that stuff if it's always in a box. If you open that box every year or two and you're appreciating it, okay. But if you're just keeping it because you're just so terrified of letting it go, that is not good. And that is not healthy. Let's see here. Kelly said, checked your email, and so I was live. Yay. I am expecting baby number 4 in March. It's prioritizing function. Yes, that's very good, Emily. Exactly. Like, you need your house set up to serve you. Baby number 4, you want that everything to be where it goes and easy to put away, which is so helpful. So my cleaning method is what I just described, which is the Mighty method. And I have had that for a while now. It's Triage, Simplify, Organize, Thrive. But when it comes to actually cleaning the house, I love Ariel from That Awkward Mom. I love her method for the actual, like, keeping the house clean. But for me, it is so important to have less stuff. And honestly, at this stage of life, as a mom to a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 16-year-old. I feel like I'm kind of coming off of like the super busy time in life. And I just put out a video last week about how, like, why I left nursing. And I feel like I'm still kind of recovering from a lot of that stress. And so part of that is simplifying not just the stuff in my house, but also so many things, like even what I commit to. So for my church, for example, I do the reels and social media, but I was very careful before I committed to that because I wanted to be sure that I was not going to overwhelm myself. And I want to always be able to just sort of like feel like, okay. So this last fall, I had like way overextended myself and I had to every single day um, just say, okay, so what is an absolute priority? Like for you, like if it's like getting up and going to work, obviously that's a priority. And then coming home, taking care of the family. But what can go? What is getting in your way? What is holding you back? What can you simplify? Ruth says, I had a hard time getting rid of picture Christmas cards, and I realized I'm not the keeper of other people's family photos. It was hard. Oh my gosh, that's such a good one. Because yeah, like we get these and it's so lovely and it is hard. I think it feels really weird throwing photos away. When my eldest was like 1, um, and we had like 50 picture Christmas cards made with his picture on it. And I gave out maybe like 20. And so we had like 30. Well, it felt so weird to throw pictures of my kid away. And it took me a really long time to do it. But I finally did because I just was like, this is not like, why am I holding on to this? And so often we end up saying to ourselves, like, or not realizing, I should say, that no matter what, if it's not going to the landfill, if you're keeping it from the landfill while you're alive, it's going to go there when you're gone. So keep that in mind. I hope I didn't. What microphone am I using? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's terrible. Oh well. I guess this one's not working. All this time, it probably doesn't sound very good, but I apologize. I was just doing some editing for a client just now. And I was busy. Let me see. Can you hear me? There we go. That's the better microphone. Sorry about that. Yeah, and I think a lot of people can relate to it being hard to let go of stuff like that. But I hate to even say this because sometimes family members watch the video, but so often, like I get a card, I'm like, that's lovely. And then I'm like, okay, I throw it away. Although I did have a lovely viewer who she's actually in our membership. She sent me this and it came so late because we had a strike, a postal strike, but she sent that. So that was really sweet. So I have kept that because, it's just a little different. It's handmade. That's different. But yeah, so I really would love to see you guys join the workshop. I'll let you know a little bit more about the club, but mostly I just want to help you. And yeah, like this is all about you finally taking charge of your life so that you don't have to keep starting over. So you can make great progress and you are not backsliding and you can focus your time where it should be. And to be honest, right now, you guys, there is so much craziness going on in the world. And I feel like your home has got to be ultra important for you to be comfortable and safe at home. And as an aside, I will never discuss politics on my channel because I personally feel like we need places that we can escape to. And I love my garden and I will put in my AirPods and I'll take my phone and I'll go out and I'll like listen to a podcast or something. And then if it's not even related to politics, and sometimes they start talking about it, I'm just like, you guys, like we need an escape. We all need an escape. Even though there's so many important things happening, we still need to be able to escape because it's not good for our brains and our nervous systems to be constantly reminded of these awful things because we all have things going on in our own personal lives too. Not to minimize anything else that's happening, but we all have things going on in our personal lives. So if you're constantly beating yourself down, and then speaking of politics, you're speaking of decluttering, not politics, you're going in your house and it's overwhelming and it's stress, that is just going to hold you back. Hello from Oregon. I'm working on thinning down scrapbooking items. I love doing it. I have decluttered 75% of things. Yay! Thus, I have time to scrapbook again. Yeah. And that is so important. And thank you so much, Patricia, because sometimes, you feel this pressure, but it's for me, it is so jarring and so frustrating to never be able to get away from the negative stuff. And because and I understand how important so much of it is, but it is so not healthy and you can't be a positive influence on the world if you are constantly bogged down. So I just wanted to come out here and say that because it's just so important. During the ice storm in South Carolina this weekend, I was pleasantly surprised that we were able to have my mother-in-law come stay with us without having a power clean. Yes, because you decluttered so much. That is the best, is if somebody, even this morning, actually, I was getting ready, tidying up the house because my son was eating breakfast and I just took some papers because he had emptied off out his backpack. Semester had changed. Took some papers off the table, put them in the recycling, and I was like, "Wow, it's already clean in here. Just a couple things I put on the stairs to take upstairs, which is bad, but I did that, and it's just so helpful." Good for you, Ruth. I know it's hard to sort of make those decisions. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to end this soon because I can't talk. To make those decisions about letting go of the thing we thought we would do. So good for you. Yay. And yes, Sandra, that is incredible that you have made that awesome progress. So yeah, I really hope you guys join into the workshop. I think it's going to be so fun. And I was going to do it on Zoom, but I think I might just do it here on Restream instead. There's no real need for people to a lot of people, they were like, "Oh no, it's on Zoom. I can't go." I was like, "You don't have to have Zoom. You can just stream it through your browser. You don't have to use your camera or anything like that. That's the whole point." But I think I'll probably just do it on Restream. It's honestly just as easy. Helps me because I still have a couple of things to get ready to welcome people in. And I hope you guys just take it easy today. Just make sure you get in a little bit of exercise, a little bit of walking, a little bit of extra water, some good food, some time with friends and family. I think this is just such an important time to really start focusing on the important things. And thank you so much. And I hope to see you again in the workshop. It's linked in the comments of this video, and I will put it in the pinned comment as well. So thank you. I hope something great happens for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And